Today we are going to be talking about Genshin burnout. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, my name is Anna, and I hope you stick around if you enjoy my content. We are going to be tackling a pretty common thing that happens in the Genshin community. I will say I did write a script from this, so everything that I am reading is all on the script that I wrote to make sure that everything is in order and doesn't come out too jumble or rambly, so this video is not longer than it needs to be. So Genshin burnout is essentially when you are playing Genshin, but every single little thing you do in the game feels like a chore, such as doing the story quests, commissions, exploring, etc. And you don't have that spark or excitement when playing. And it doesn't even have to be with just Genshin either, it can really be with any game or even any task. When it comes to Genshin, there's no doubt that what you're doing, no matter where your AR level is or whatever, is going to feel like a chore. But think about it. You're doing the same thing every day of grinding for materials, doing your commissions, doing story quests, exploration, especially in later stages of the game when there isn't really anything to do because a new version comes out and you finish that story for that version, or you finish the new region and you've wished for the new character and already farmed for them. There isn't really much to do, and you might find yourself not having fun like you used to. So I've compiled just a few tips on how to deal with it. These may not work for everyone. Disclaimer, it may not work for everyone. And some people might have their own suggestions for dealing with burnout as well. And if you do, definitely comment it in the comment section and help some people who are dealing with burnout. Alright, let's get right into it. Tip number 1, take a break from Genshin. Right off the bat, I'm going to start by saying this. Take a break for however long you need to. That can be for a few days, for a few weeks, months, or even a year. Everyone is different. I believe taking a break from Genshin is extremely important, especially when you've been playing the game non-stop for days for content reasons, or you're grinding so hard for Chiori and Kazuha's rerun that you feel like you need to be playing to get every single possible primo gem in the game, especially if you are a free-to-play. As I always say, if I don't feel like playing Genshin, then I will not play Genshin. I know my channel is primarily Genshin content, and I do have fun with Genshin content, but if I don't feel like playing, then I do not feel like playing, and I feel like I shouldn't have to force myself to play. We all know that I have multiple accounts, and it's a lot to maintain, especially when I have work and school, that I don't even have time for Genshin because the game can become very time consuming. You shouldn't feel bad about taking a break from Genshin, and you want to do this if you feel like the more you play, the more bored you are becoming or you're hitting the edge of burnout. So take a step back for some time until you're ready to return. Tip number 2, start a new account and make it a challenge. This tip depends on the person, so if this does not work for you, then that's okay. But for some, starting a new account may or may not be the key to solving their burnout. Just starting a new account might be enough for someone to feel that rush with Genshin again, especially if their main account is so high in AR, like AR 56 like I am on my main, or even AR 60, and seeing everything from the beginning and being reminded why they fell in love with Genshin in the first place is enough for them to continue playing, or not feel so burnt out anymore. For some, the reason they feel burnout is not because of the gameplay, but because they play with the same characters, and for some, it might be the gameplay. Like I said, everyone is different. If you decided to start a new account to revitalize your love for Genshin, I would recommend these different challenges to spice up the account. Make it a weapons/element only account. So this is an account where you only wish and use characters that are bow users, claymore users, geo users, etc. This can push you to try new methods at attempting puzzles, farming, etc. When you are limiting yourself to a specific class of characters, as well as possibly playing with characters you don't normally play. Play with characters you don't normally play. On your main, there may be like 10 characters that you never play, so on this new account, play with those characters. Play with those 10 characters you never play as, and maybe only those 10 characters for a little bit before you branch out into other characters that you are used to playing. Only wish for new characters. I've seen Imtash do this on his new Genshin account from a year or so ago, where on his new account, he would only wish for new characters and didn't play with characters that would break the game, quote unquote, in early stages, i.e. Denjo Traveler, Xingqiu, Xiangling, Bennett, etc. Challenge yourself to only wish for brand new characters. For example, out of the 4 upcoming banners, the only new 5-star is Chiori. So only wish for Chiori, and if there's a new 4-star as well, then wish for them as well. You aren't allowed to wish for any character from before 4.3, which is the version we're about to hit, and they must be a brand new character. So it can't be a rerun character even if you've never wished for them. Make it a challenge so you are building characters you don't normally use, etc. Because if you keep staying with the same set of characters, then not much will change beyond your gameplay. Tip number 3. Check out the new versions. I would say this applies if you've been taking a break from Genshin and decided you wanted to come back. Let's say you decided to come back to Genshin at the start of 4.3 but don't know what's been added in the game since the last time you've played. I would kind of find some recaps of the versions that you've missed that highlights the new features. Not so much for events because you would have missed them, especially going for characters, etc. And see if something in that new version piques your interest in making you want to play. For example, at the start of 4.0, they decided to change the backgrounds of the party screen to match each region, then eventually overhauled how to level up your characters, and now in 4.3, they are essentially adding in a guide for every character to keep up with materials and such when farming for that character. And in 4.2, adding an option for quick loading artifacts onto a character for their builds. So it can be just overall overhauls that can bring you back to Genshin because maybe you hated leveling up characters and now it's easier to quick select experience materials without it taking 10 years, or just finally having an option in the game to see what is the next step you need to take to build your nouvelette without having to go on YouTube or Game 8. Which I personally would still use just in case, since this is a new thing that they're implementing. When 4.0 came out, I was extremely excited for the new party menu changes, even though it felt like something so small, but Fontaine had also just released in that same version, and so did Lenny. So getting Lenny on one of my accounts, the new party menu changes, and exploring Fontaine made me super excited to play, which brings me to my next tip. Tip number 4, checking out the new characters. Now everyone's opinion is different, but as someone who has played Genshin for the last 3 or so years, I personally love every single Fontaine character that we have gotten, and I believe it has been one of the best regional character releases. And the reason for that is because each character is extremely strong in their own way, and it didn't feel like they skimped down on every character like Genshin does, where one 5-star might be amazing, but then the next one that comes out is Dookie. Baiju. Hate to say it, but Nahida from our Sumeru arc is the best Dendro applicator in the game right now, and yes, Baiju is a healer, different from Nahida obviously, but so many people anticipated him since he was first seen in the early stages of Genshin, and he felt lackluster and is not the best healer in the game. So that's what I mean when Genshin is not consistent when it comes to releasing characters from each region. Sumeru felt very messy, and truly the only few characters that actually ended up being amazing were Tighnari and Nahida, and every other character made it feel like you had to invest way too much for them to be good. My point being, in my opinion, every Fontaine character I feel has been very consistent and super fun to play. Nouvelette, Wriothesley, Ferdina, Lenny, etc. I am saying this because check out the new character trailers and familiarize yourself with the characters you missed or are upcoming, because you might want those characters because of that playstyle or their design, etc. For example, say you missed Nouvelette's first banner and decided to watch his character demo, and it fills you with so much joy with how much fun he looks, and then you find out in 4.3 he's getting a rerun with Kazuha, which, if you did not hear, the second half or the second phase of 4.3, there is going to be a Nouvelette and Kazuha rerun for people that really enjoy Kazuha or for people that really enjoy Nouvelette, want more constellations of either character, or never got a chance to get them on previous reruns or said first banner. For me, it had been so long since I had been so excited for a character because Nouvelette felt so different and has such a different playstyle. Like seriously, a fucking water gun? And having invested so much into him, he's now one of my favorite characters to play, so sometimes it just takes a new character to come back to Genshin. Tip number 5, lessen how much you play. To lessen the burnout, play less. This ties into taking a break, but if you don't want to take a break but still want to play, lessen how much you play. If you were someone who played Genshin for 5 hours a day, every day, lessen it to a few hours for a few days a week and focus on little goals and tasks whenever you play. Like, say you want to focus on building Yelan, maybe only play on the days where her materials are available. Spend 1 week only playing on the days where you can farm for her, then the next week only play on the days where her weapon materials are available, so you're essentially only playing about 2 to 3 times a week for maybe less than an hour if you're specifically only logging on to farm for her. Playing less might help you not get as tired of playing, and you're slowly building up a character you really wanted to play without forcing yourself to play every day when the character materials are only available for some days in the first place, besides mob boss materials, world boss materials, and local specialties. So if your goal is to only play 2 days a week to build Yelan, then on Monday, you farm a little bit for her talents and fight her boss a few times if you have resin, fragile resin, or condensed resin, and work a little bit on gathering materials for her mob enemies and local specialties. Then, the next Yelan day, which is Thursday. So in that time, the local specialties have replenished because it's been 3 days already, so you don't have to go to other people's worlds, and you can do the same thing you did Monday of farming her world boss with mob materials and local specialties, and the next week is the same, but with whatever weapon you have her wielding. And this can be a monthly thing too, where you focus on one character a month and work on solely building that character and creating team comps for them. Tip number 6, lessen the amount of characters you're focusing on. Another reason for Genshin burnout might be because you're building way too many characters and you feel like every day you have to grind for someone or multiple characters because 3 characters that use the same damn local specialty, i.e. Animal Traveler, Bennett, and Sucrose. All 3 of them use Gwynwell Asters. Instead of building so many at a time, only focus on a few characters. Some people say focus on a main DPS, a sub DPS, and 2 supports. So pick a couple of your favorite characters, and when one is done and you feel like that the character is perfect, then bring in another character, and so on and so forth. The point is to lessen the amount of stress you have on your shoulders of needing to play every day because you're afraid you'll miss farming for Zhao's weapon, or you'll miss farming for Xianyun's talent materials but also gotta farm for Raiden's talents because hers is the same day as someone else's, and it becomes stressful to have to focus on way too many characters. So lessen the amount of characters you focus on to maybe 4, or focus on 1 character every few weeks or a month like I mentioned in my last tip of perfecting 1 character a month until they are perfect for you. Tip number 7, designate days to work on the Archon/world quest, etc. Let's say it's not the characters, the exploration, the gameplay, but it's actually the story and you have a huge backlog of quests to do. Like me. The Archon quests are extremely long and you can't really skip them, and putting it on auto doesn't help much simply because there are going to be dialogue options that you have to choose, which if you're not paying attention, you could have passed 10 minutes and that's 10 more minutes you have to spend listening to dialogue. If you feel that doing quests is too much, whilst you're going to have to eventually do them, especially for characters that have to have a world quest done in order to farm their boss, i.e. Zhongli and his part 2 quest for Azdaha, or Raiden and her puppet boss quest, then set some days where you can slowly work on getting those quests done and give yourself a reward, so to speak, until it's done. It might just be the backlog is overwhelming, but the story is so good that it makes you want to keep going. But if you only have a little time to work on the story, then do a little bit of it each day or every other day, which I would probably recommend every other day for those who are lessening the amount of time they spend playing. Then, when you reach a certain point, just treat yourself with cooking dinner or a small snack, or if you decide you want to continue after that treat because the story is getting good, then do that. But don't spend 6 hours doing 1 or multiple quests just because you want to get them done and over with. Unless that's what you want to do, then do you. But like I said, the quest can be very long, and even after 1, I feel burnt out from the amount of puzzles, dialogue, and unskippable cutscenes I had to go through. Tip number 8, do the events. If you want to just get primo gems but don't really want to build characters or explore, etc., but the events look fun to you, then do those events and focus on those alone if that's what you want to do. Sometimes the events are bad, and sometimes they're really fun. But if you don't want to force yourself to explore and level up characters and do the story quests when you're dealing with burnout, then I would say doing the events are a good thing to do, as well with them of rewarding you primo gems and other materials, or even a free weapon. There's at least 1 event in the entire version that has a quest tied to it, and sometimes you don't even need to do the entire quest to be able to do all parts of the event. If that's enough for you to keep your burnout low and get rewarded, then definitely do that. There are events that take 10 seconds to do or no longer than a certain amount of time, and if you're like me and wait until everything is available, then you can speedrun the whole thing in a day and be done, and also kind of keep up with what Genshin is putting out. We reach our final tip. Tip number 9, play other games. If all else fails and you're seriously just so burnt out with Genshin that this doesn't work for you, then play other games. There is no shame in not playing Genshin for a while, and there might be some time in the future that will bring you back when it's time. Other games might be enough to fill that hole that once had Genshin in it, and that's like me too. If you don't want to play Genshin, I either play other games or do other hobbies, and I come back to Genshin when I'm ready. At the end of the day, you don't want to force yourself to come back to a very intensive game like Genshin just because other people are begging you to come back or you feel like you have to. You come back when you're ready to. I think in terms of tips, this is all I have for now, so if one of these or all of these tips help you, then let me know. If any of you guys have any more tips that I didn't touch on, then definitely put those in the comments and help some other people who are dealing with burnout as well. As a Genshin content creator, I still post Genshin, but in order for me to not get burnt out, I play other games on my channel that I enjoy just as much as Genshin, and if I see a new character demo or something of a sort, then I will decide whether or not it's time for me to put more Genshin on my channel. I know you guys like my Genshin content, but it's nice when it's not the only thing I'm focusing on. Because when you're a Genshin content creator, there's only so much you can do once you've done everything or the same things, and really only open Genshin just to get a collab video out, you know? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please share with people who are dealing with Genshin burnout as well and help them move forward a little bit. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!